Hello, everyone. So, as we know, the age of the internet, everything can be accessed very quickly, especially by young people, etc. But not even that, for wider society too, it has an effect. Not just on young people, etc. And of course, they want to push digital IDs, etc. But I do think they have a point here, and I do think it should have been done long ago. This to do with violent porn. And we've seen cases of this, particularly on Twitter and other cases, that acts of intercourse, etc., particularly violent, where the people being punched, etc., extreme violence in terms of this, in terms of sexual activity, etc. It's very prevalent, unfortunately, in the modern world too. It's not as prevalent maybe in Ireland as maybe in other countries, but it is out there still on social media, and it's out there on Twitter. And unfortunately, I've come across bits of it, not even by looking at it, just it turns up on your phone, and it's very violent, it's very extreme. And especially if you're a young, impressionable person, for example, somebody in their teens, etc., would have probably an impact on you, etc. But I do think there's a bigger problem here, and it's to do with the porn industry in general. I do think it degrades, particularly women, in a lot of cases it is women, degrades women a lot. And it undermines women, and a lot of men, unfortunately, a lot of young men growing up, think the women are basically a piece of meat in a lot of cases. Unfortunately, that's just the way a lot of these teens nowadays do think. And it's an unfortunate thing, and of course the porn industry, and I do think it does warp their minds a bit, like watching porn, etc. I do think we should ban porn out altogether, out of society. No digital IDs, no verifications, just outright bans on every porn website. Now, it would be impossible to probably enforce, but I do think we should go after the porn websites and ban them altogether. And I know people would say that we probably shouldn't do that, but I do think it's beneficial even for adults and stuff too, because I think it warps their minds too. And of course, we see the decline in the birth rate, etc. A lot of men online now won't talk to women in reality, etc. On the streets, etc. Because they're so obsessed online by watching porn, etc. Instead of talking to people and actually living their lives, if it makes any sense. We see with OnlyFans too should be banned probably too, because it's immoral, to be totally honest. And I think it's immoral to the people that does it more, because they're selling themselves basically. They're worth more than what they're doing. What I mean by that is they have a lot more opportunities in life than selling their body for a quick fix, basically, and it's immoral too. It is really, really immoral. And I do think they lose a bit of their soul, and I do think they lose a bit of themselves by doing it. And I don't think any money is worth that, to be totally honest. Maybe I'm grandstanding, but I don't think it is worth it. We've seen many cases of this throughout the years, but I do think it's necessary, unfortunately, because there is a lot of young people, and particularly a lot of young men, see these stuff and think it's okay to do it, etc., and acceptable in the society, but it's not acceptable at all whatsoever. But it's really and again, Jim O'Callaghan, he's not some man to be talking about, especially with the farmers' protests and sending in the army. But I do think they're right to have a bit of a view on this, and I do agree that porn should be banned. Now, they're not saying about porn ban totally, but definitely it'd be a step in the right direction to do that, because they should do that. If they want to protect children online, that would be the best option. Just outright ban it. Nobody can access it, and I think that'd be the best for society. It would be great for society too, because a lot more men could have better things to do in their lives than watch this kind of stuff. And it's not something that you should be doing. Basically, it's not something you should be doing, because it is degrading. I do think it gives you a warped sense of reality too. I do think that, and I know some people disagree with that, but I do think it's possible, and I do think it's right that they would. It actually probably does give you a warped sense of it, especially because I've seen, unfortunately, too many cases of this. I've seen it too much, unfortunately, that in the modern generation that a lot of young people do think like this, unfortunately, because they've seen stuff online, and it's very impressionable, particularly if you're a young person. It's very impressionable on you, especially these violence acts of porn, etc. Some of them are very, very violent. I've seen some, unfortunately, and again, I haven't looked for them. It's just on Twitter they used to the way things are presented to you, it just pops up like the most stupidest, fucking insane stuff pops up on Twitter, etc. You could just not randomly scrolling Twitter and that come across, or even Facebook. Unfortunately, I've seen it on Facebook, even though it's heavily modified, modded. You can still see it, unfortunately, that and a lot of women do get hurt, and particularly it's in South America that's more the problem, where these videos are recorded, not so much in the Irish state, but from South America, from other places too, that would probably think less of women. Let's put that way, in a lot of cases, because in the majority of cases the woman that's being abused more than the man, etc. But it's very violent in terms of punching, and in terms of like blood, etc. coming out. Like it's really, really very violent. And particularly some of the actions, as I say, I'm not going to get into all of it, but it's very, very violent, and I do think It's not acceptable in a modern society, and unfortunately, it probably is websites. Unfortunately, out there should be banned too. But it's a weird worry because it does leave an impact, particularly on young men, and even the porn industry in general. It's not a great industry. What I'm trying to say, it should be banned. It should have been banned long ago, because I think it uses women in a lot of cases, particularly women. It does use a lot of young women, and I do think they lose a bit of themselves by selling themselves like that. And I don't mean to grandstand on it, but I'm just saying how I see it. And I've seen many examples, unfortunately, of it over the years. It's the same with so many young people too on OnlyFans. There was so many young women. I've heard of actually one girl that was only turned 18 and straight away went on to OnlyFans and stuff. But it is degrading. And in some cases, it's younger than that on it, and it's appalling what the modern world has turned into in that regard. It's appalling that this is acceptable. Years ago, it wouldn't have been acceptable. But I don't know. But I'm just saying what I think, because I do think it would benefit young people, would actually encourage them to do something productive to society, even for themselves too, not even for society, for themselves. And I do think it would give men, because I do think it's took a lot of confidence of men watching porn, etc. Because it's an easy fix compared to getting into a relationship or meeting somebody, say, on the street, a woman on the street. It's an easy fix, basically. And even for some women too, it's an easy fix compared to having to start a relationship and get into a relationship, etc. And of course, it's all difficult and stuff to get in relationships and stuff and get connection, etc. It's a long, complicated. So summarising it very simply, but it is a long process, etc. Of course. But I do think this is the right decision, but that we should ban it outright too, like porn altogether. But I hope it does do some good. But again, what they would pretty much say is we need to see a digital ID. I don't agree with that at all. That's why I'm saying an outright ban. There'd be no such thing as digital IDs. There'd be no such thing. Would let me show me your papers. Just an outright ban. No, not allowed in Ireland. Simple as that. Out. Goodbye. And I know people say that's freedom, etc. But I don't think it's right to be done. That's in my opinion. I do think it undermines people, and I do think it undermines society as a whole too. To be totally honest, particularly the young generation growing up. But anyway, let me know what you think, because I know it's a topic. I suppose it's you don't want to tell people what to do. Of course, that's the main thing too. I don't want to tell people what to do, what they should do in their own personal lives. But at the same time too, you have to think about the younger generation. You have to think about society too, the societal impacts. When you think about the decline of the birth rates, etc. This has some, doesn't have all to do with it, but might 5% or so, 10%. But yeah, let me know what you think. So let me know what your view is on this. Thank you.